Hudson County View live at Uncut. John R. Hydus, and I'm joining you today actually from Andes, New York. While I'm technically on vacation, still wanted to give you the latest and greatest here in Hudson County. So, without further ado, we're going to get right into it. As you guys know, there was a big political scrap going on in Hoboken regarding Police Chief Kenneth Ferrante. However, it appears that that was more white noise than anything else because the City Council unanimously approved a new deal for the chief that is good through 2022. So we're going to tell you about that. And we're also going to discuss what's going on with Liberty State Park. So you folks are aware that there's a group that is open to the idea of privatization. That group is called the Liberty State Park for All Coalition. And Jerry Walker put out an interesting statement through them, and it talks about quote unquote contamination at the park. So that's something that I think you guys will also want to hear about if you haven't already. And then we're also going to talk about the upcoming Board of Education races in Jersey City and Bayonne, respectively. In Bayonne, we know that the board president and the vice president are on the same ticket, and they'll be taking on a slate, at least one of them, that is headed by trustee Michael Alonso, as you know, is no stranger to controversy on the board. So we're going to give you that, as well as talk about round two between Education Matters, of course, the Jersey City Education Association backed ticket, and Change for Children, who created a little stir last year when they cracked into the board. They won 2 seats, Education Matters won 3. So all that and more when we come back after a word from our sponsor.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712. The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning, life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Hudson County View live at Uncut, John R. Highness. So as I just mentioned at the top of the program, we're going to talk a little bit about Police Chief Kenneth Ferrante. Of course, that's over in the Mile Square City. So as you guys have been following, back on July 8th, the council voted on a resolution that was an amended resolution that would have trimmed the chief's vacation days from 30 to 25, and it also would have given him a 2-year deal that would have been coterminous with Mayor Ravi Bala instead of a 3-year deal that had previously been negotiated with the administration. So the past few weeks, you guys know that there's been a hell of a lot of fighting, even by Hoboken standards, particularly on Twitter, and it made it seem like it was unclear what was going to happen last night. But at the end of the day, like I kind of already said, it was much ado about nothing. 9-0. Council unanimously approved that 3-year deal. It's exactly the way it was 2 weeks ago. And basically everybody appears to be happy, at least as happy as you're going to be in Hoboken. So let's take a look at this story that my colleague Corey McDonald, big thanks to him and Daniel Uloa for picking up some of the slack while I'm away. Thank you very much, guys. So with that, I just want to tell you that this new agreement, again, that's effective through December 31, 2022, provides a salary increase of $5,000 for the next 2 years. So he currently earns $201,075. And so by the end of 2022, that'll be $211,075. Now, Ferrante told Corey that I thank the mayor, the city council, and city administration for finally coming together to get this completed. I look forward to continuing my 24/7 dedication to serving our city's residents and businesses, as well as serving the men and women of the Hoboken Police Department who have done tremendous work and of a very difficult period in our history. I'm only looking ahead to tomorrow's challenges that we face. And as you could imagine, Mayor Ravi Bala was also happy with this latest news. He said that he was thrilled that Hoboken will now have Chief Ferrante at the helm of the Hoboken Police Department for a full 3 years, thanks to the newly adopted contract. Under his leadership, the police department has taken major steps forward to keep Hoboken safe and increase the quality of life for all of our residents. I have no doubt this progress will continue in the years to come. I thank the council for the unanimous support for Chief Ferrante and the Hoboken Police Department. So, for those of you that have been following closely, you know that the things cited by the administration as well as Ferrante himself include only 3 officers for the Hoboken Police Department being impacted by COVID, actually infected with the disease. And he's also talked about how there's been no civil litigation since he took over as chief, nothing on use of force in particular. And, that's already been, we're getting close to, I believe, 6 years now. So, yeah, so it's been a little while, and they also talked about how he brought quote unquote professionalism to the Office of Emergency Management. If you were unaware, Chief Ferrante served as the Hoboken OEM coordinator for 2 years prior to becoming the chief. So it seems to be all's well that ends well here at Hoboken, though there was obviously a lot of concern after a story from Hudson County View at Exclusive, where we did an Open Public Records Act request, and Ferrante laid out 4 possible scenarios, 3 of which where he could continue working with the city, and 1 scenario where he put in his retirement papers. So obviously that mention made some people uncomfortable. But again, at the end of the day, it looks like cooler heads have prevailed, and he'll be there for at least another 3 years. So with that, we're going to take another word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just 1 path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Highness. So now we're going to mosey over into some Jersey City news, and we're going to talk about Jersey City freeholder Jerry Walker and how he thinks there should be a new study for the quote-unquote contamination at Liberty State Park. So again, as I mentioned, he put out a statement that was released through the Liberty State Park for All Coalition, and at first it sounded, fairly uneventful, fairly standard, right? He said, everyone agrees on the importance of protecting the park, but what has been lacking is a discussion about how to make the park work better for our minority communities. The council took a step towards ensuring that conversation happens. This is not new. This is something that we've heard quite a few times over from some other electeds like Ward F. Councilman Jermaine Robinson, probably being the prime example, but he's not the only one. And Walker continued, by noting the need for recreational activities and for more community representation, they have given a voice at long last to those who have not been heard on the park. I would especially like to thank Councilman Robinson for his efforts in moving this conversation forward. So you guys are probably aware that on July 15th, the Jersey City Council approved a resolution calling for the Liberty State Park Protection Act to be introduced and approved by the state legislature. Only Councilman Robinson voted no. It passed 8-1. And also, that same day, that morning actually, Paul Fireman, the owner of the Liberty National Golf Course, who of course wanted to expand into Cave and Point, he wanted to add 3 more holes onto the course. He announced that morning that he was backing out of the conversation and he wanted people to quote unquote address the social justice issues related to the park. Now, nevertheless, despite that announcement, it doesn't really seem like the conversation has changed a whole lot because this statement from Freeholder Walker continues that the legislature must pass legislation, either an amended Protection Act or a new bill entirely, that calls for a new study around the contamination currently at the park and as the framework for a plan to clean it up. It must pass legislation that creates a new commission that not only has true community representation, but listens, gathers ideas, and creates a new master plan for Liberty State Park that works for every single member of our community. So, as you could imagine, that wasn't particularly well received by friends of Liberty State Park President Sam Pessin, and his response to this was the DEP will present their interior plans and studies at a public meeting, probably in September. So this press release is based on their total lack of information as a part of Fireman's only goal of privatizing and destroying LSP's Caven Point natural area for golf holes for millionaires. Fireman just wants to delay the remediation, planning, implementation, and opening up of the interior for the public's use and enjoyment for his only goal of seizing Caven Point. So, like I just said, it doesn't look like the conversation has changed a whole lot, despite the fact that Paul Fireman is saying, his golf course is not playing a role for the foreseeable future. Now, interestingly, the Record has previously reported that Fireman donated $10,000 to Walker's nonprofit, Team Walker. So, take that for what you will. But there's also want to point out that we've heard a lot about the master plan. So just a quick refresher, the Liberty State Park for All Coalition has expressed concerns about contamination, which, we already knew. And they've also cited amenities mentioned in a 1977 state master plan that never came to fruition. So that includes an aquarium. I believe there is a pool, but it's not actually in use. And there's some other, quite a few others as well. So another thing to also make note of is on the state level, the current version of the Liberty State Park Protection Act has not been introduced in the Assembly or the Senate yet. We know that our legislators from the 33rd District, that's State Senator Brian Stack, Assemblyman Raj Mukherjee, and Assemblywoman Annette Chaparro, they have all expressed support and have previously introduced the legislation in the 2019 session. And Senator Stack and Assemblyman Chaparro and Assemblyman Mukherjee have also came out, you probably remember, that talk about the privatization because of the state budget amendment. So the reason that's why they decided to get involved. And they came out and said that we do not support any privatization at any state parks, of course, specifically mentioning Liberty State Park. So that's basically where we're at here. We're obviously going to keep a close eye on what's happening coming up with Liberty State Park, especially in September, because when we want to hear about these new plans and who's going to be on this committee, we're certainly going to let you know as soon as possible. So with that, we're going to take another commercial break.
Women who give birth recover without problems, but any woman can have complications after the birth of a baby. Learn the post-birth warning signs, such as fever, headache, chest pain, shortness of breath, increased bleeding, or thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else. Knowing these can save your life or the life of someone that you love. Trust your instincts. If you feel something is wrong, call and get evaluated by your healthcare provider. If your symptoms get worse or you do not hear back from your physician, call 911 or go to the nearest emergency room.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Pinto Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintoproperties.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hudson County View, live and uncut, John R. Highness. So we're going to talk about the Jersey City Board of Education race now. As you guys probably seen, we know that Education Matters is going to run again against the Change of Our Children ticket. And there's 3 seats on the lines and only 6 candidates, so no independents this time around. You guys probably also remember that there was a truckload of money spent last year, maybe even a boatload, I guess, whatever you consider to be more. So just on that point, according to the New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission, last year's Jersey City Board of Ed race was the most expensive in New Jersey history, with $704,885 reported raised, $590,019 reported spent. And one of the more controversial talking points, I guess if you want to call it that, is Fairer NJ, a super PAC primarily funded by Jersey City-based developer LaFrac, was the chief financier for Change for Children, while the New Jersey Education Association was the biggest financial benefactor for Education Matters. So historically, as we've seen for many years now, Education Matters gets the support of the local teachers union, the Jersey City Education Association, and typically, they've been pulling off sweeps, I would say more often than not, and they haven't faced a really stiff challenge until they saw a well-financed competitor last year. I mean, they did lose a seat here and a seat there, but it was not commonplace. And now, like I mentioned at the top of the program, we saw Education Matters take three, Change for Children took two. Certainly, that dynamic is going to change this year with only three seats up for grabs. But just in case you haven't read it yet, let me just give you a quick refresher on who's running here. So, with Education Matters, we have three trustees. You have your board president, Lorenzo Richardson, you have vice president, Gina Vertobello, and trustee, LaKendrick Shaw. And Vertobello and Shaw actually took on Change for Children last year. They were running for one-year terms, and of course, they were both successful. And as for the Change for Children team, we have Ashinia Johnson and Sonia Citrode, who ran as an independent last year, and we also have Karen Poliski, a first-time candidate. But Ashinia Johnson was also on the Change for Children slate last year. She was unsuccessful, but she is the one member that is returning, giving it another go this time around. And she's no stranger to local government and politics. You guys may be aware that she used to work as an aide for Assemblywoman Angela McKnight and also previously for Ward F Councilman Jermaine Robinson. So last year was a pretty contentious race, and at one point it looked like it was just going to be 4 board seats, but there was a lawsuit. Trustee Alexander Hamilton, when he was a first-time candidate, sued to get on the ballot, and he was obviously successful. And just another quick refresher point, in 2019, you saw Hamilton and his running mate Noemi Velasquez of Change for Children win, and Gerald Lyons joined Gina Vertobello and LaKendrick Shaw in the winner's circle for the Education Matters team. So, right now you have a 7-2 dynamic on the board, and could actually all change on a dime in the event the Change for Children were to pull off a sweep, and anything's possible. I mean, we don't really know what's going on in November yet. There's a lot of talk that this will be another all vote by mail election. Maybe not, sorry, not all vote by mail, but primarily vote by mail election with only provisional ballot voting in person. So, the governor said he's probably going to make that decision in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I think he gave a cutoff date of August 15, but I know it's about mid-August. So we'll know sooner than later. And at that time, also, the ballots will be made, and people will know which column that the candidates of their choice will be in. So, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks in that respect. But I guess the biggest question is how much money is going to be spent on this race. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a very limited capacity and a limited enthusiasm to do in-person fundraising. So, and also with even a debate, I think a lot of people would prefer to have that on a digital platform like Zoom. And, given that this is the local school board, there's a lot of conversations about, the safety of the students, teachers, and staff related to COVID-19. And now it looks like a lot of districts, including Jersey City, will not have much, if any, in-person learning for the first month. So, and that's something that is, of course, subject to change, and it's really day by day, week by week, month by month. But just it really is going to make this a fascinating election, in my opinion. And I think this could be one of a kind, could be once in a lifetime. So we're going to keep our eye on that. And as always, we're going to give you the latest details. We're going to take another break. Be right back.
Rama Jewelers, located in the Lyndhurst Shopping Center at 413 Valley Brook Avenue, Lyndhurst. Come for all your jeweler needs at Rama Jewelers, where you will find a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets. Choose from one of our complete sets, our many signature items, or find the perfect engagement ring. Come on down. That's Rama Jewelers at 413 Valley Brook Ave, Lyndhurst. Call 201-939-5784 or visit us online today.
You know those times when you need to see the doctor, but you just can't get to the doctor? So where do you go? Go to the App Store, download the Telemed app from RWJ Barnabas Health, and you see the doctor right away. from any mobile device, whenever you want, wherever you are.
Quality care, no appointment necessary. The doctor is online when you download the Telemed app.
Don't you feel better already?
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut, John R. Highness. So now we're just going to go up to the Peninsula City to talk a little bit about the Bayonne Board of Education race. So as I mentioned, the Together We Can ticket is going to include Board President Maria Volato and Vice President Christopher Munoz. Now they're going to be joined by a first-time candidate, and his name is David Watson. And as you guys probably are well aware, Together We Can is the group that has typically been endorsed by Mayor Jimmy Davis and the City Council. So interesting to see Trustee Munoz, Vice President Munoz on that slate, because as you guys know, it wasn't that long ago he ran against Assemblyman Nick Schrabolati, who was close to the mayor, and there was certainly some friction after that, but I guess it looks like cooler heads have now prevailed. So we also see, interestingly, Dennis Wolbeck Jr., the son of the board's former vice president, that's Dennis Wolbeck Sr., of course, is running. And Wolbeck Sr. began another 3-year term in January and has been on the board since 2016. And his son is running on the Responsibility, Integrity, and Care ticket with first-time candidate Andrew Kim. Now, as I also mentioned at the top of the program, Trustee Michael Alonzo, who was engulfed in controversy after posting what many call divisive Facebook posts about the George Floyd protest, is seeking another term after winning as an independent in 2017. So while the race is nonpartisan, Alonzo is running with the other Bayonne Republicans, Michael Stredvaka and Charles Shepard, and that will be under the Make Bayonne Great Again banner. So no secret that they're trying to garner some support from the Republican vote. That will inevitably be coming out in November 3rd, of course. And finally, we have former trustee Charles Ryan, a retired police officer, throwing his hat in the ring. And he's currently running as an independent, according to filings with the Hudson County Clerk's Office. So again, as we just had a lengthy discussion about, it's unclear how that November 3rd race is going to look, but when we have more, we will certainly let you know. So staying in Bayonne, we're going to talk a little bit about Councilman Sal Galais. He had an unfortunate work injury last week and has been in the hospital ever since. So certainly we wish him well. Lots of thoughts and prayers I see going out on social media. Certainly we'd like to wish him the same. And let me tell you what happened in case you're not up to speed. So the second ward councilman, that's like I just said, Sal Galais, suffered a severe leg injury while working for the Hudson County Improvement Authority last week. And the Hudson County Improvement Authority spokeswoman, Caitlin Mata, told me that a solid waste facility contract monitor assigned to work at Advanced Environmental Recycling, Inc. in Newark was injured while performing his duties with the HCIA at roughly 7:30 a.m. on Friday. A private garbage truck operated by Direct Waste Services made contact with the employee, and he was brought to the University Hospital in Newark for treatment of his injuries. So we've heard a lot of things offline about how severe this injury was, and several described it to me as gruesome. So we're not going to get into those details, but it's certainly definitely a serious injury because he's already had 3 surgeries, the most recent one on Tuesday, and was scheduled to now have a 4th surgery today. So, it's obviously a very trying time for the Galais family. But on Saturday, his wife Donna posted on Facebook saying that she's thankful for all her amazing friends and family. And again, tons of well wishes, lots of people talking about a speedy recovery, hoping for a speedy recovery. So, we hope that he's able to get back on his feet sooner or later. When he's back home and, feeling more like himself, we'll certainly keep you posted on that. So we're now also going to just talk a little bit about Guttenberg and the North Hudson Regional Fire Department. North Hudson Regional Fire and Rescue, that is, of course. So they decided that they're going to consider bringing back a volunteer fire department. The reason being, according to Mayor Wayne Zitt, is that they think that the costs are just raising and it's just becoming too much of a burden for the town to handle. So specifically what happened is on Monday, the Guttenberg Council unanimously approved a resolution authorizing the establishment of an exploratory committee to look at transitioning a part of the regional fire and rescue to a volunteer fire department in town. Now, this wouldn't be anytime soon. So just to clarify, agreement in place, which of course also includes Union City, North Bergen, West New York, and Weehawken, goes through 2024. So with that in mind, according to a copy of the resolution, the committee would consist of Mayor Wayne Zitt, Town Administrator Cosmo Cirillo, Finance Director John DeStefano, and Councilman John Haberman. And Haberman is the town's designee on the North Hudson Regional Fire and Rescue Board. So North Hudson Regional Fire and Rescue was established in 1999. And we hear every so often, probably every couple of years, we hear at least one municipality talking about how it's too expensive and, they don't feel like paying. And then, cooler heads seem to prevail and they end up at the negotiating table and everything seems to work out. So is that going to be the outcome this time? Obviously, it's too soon to tell. I mean, this resolution was only passed on Monday. The committee certainly hasn't even met yet. But, it's certainly something that has not happened before. So you can't discount that either. So when I spoke to Mayor Zitt, this is what he told me. Going forward, there's a possibility that North Hudson Regional Fire and Rescue can dissolve and expire in 2024. With the cost of the department going up, we need to at least evaluate a volunteer operation. The current formula is based on ratables, but I think it should be based on how many liabilities or parcels you have in each town. This has nothing to do with the men and women on the engines. Their response times are impeccable, and I think we have the best fire department in the state. But is $2.8 million a year really fiscally prudent? Last year, there were 313 responses in town, and just 2 of them were working fires. So perhaps you may also know that Weehawken Mayor Richard Turner is also the board chair for North Hudson Regional Fire and Rescue, and was one of the architects of really bringing this whole department together, over 2 decades ago. So I had a chance to speak to him as well, and he said the payments aren't decided by ratables. It's a flat rate, and it would probably cost millions of dollars to purchase the necessary equipment. And of course, there's no firehouse currently in Guttenberg either, so that would be another added expense. So his quote was fairly short and sweet. It said, is it feasible and is it safe? The question is, will they have a 24/7 department instead of relying on North Bergen and West New York to fight their fires for them like they used to? So obviously, it doesn't sound particularly enthused with the idea. But, whether or not this comes to fruition, again, is at least 4 years away. And it definitely looks like something worth watching, though. I mean, if one municipality were to theoretically bring back their local municipal fire department, what's to stop a second one or a third one from doing the same? So, at the end of the day, it has to make financial sense, of course, but we're going to give you as many updates as we can as this process plays through. So with that, I also just wanted to make a quick mention of a domestic violence call in Jersey City, and that specifically was a Jersey City man being charged with making terroristic threats, among several other crimes, after police responded to a domestic violence call late Tuesday evening. So Hector Vargas, 33, was charged with harassment for communicating in a manner to cause alarm, making terroristic threats, possession of a controlled dangerous substance, which was marijuana, with intent to distribute, possession of CDS near school property, and possession of CDS. Again, that's a controlled dangerous substance. So while the city didn't confirm that Vargas was the man arrested, multiple sources familiar with the investigation told me the suspect detained and remanded to the Hudson County Correctional Facility was indeed Vargas. He's recently been seen on social media channels touting himself as a community activist who helped out with food pantries, street cleanups, other volunteer causes, but he's also staved off criticisms on social media, alleging he has accepted donations, both cash and goods, under false pretenses. There was a video making the rounds of someone confronting him at his home about this, and it got a lot of page views. So he's denied those allegations anyway, and there's no charges of theft and or deception by the Jersey City Police at this time. Interestingly, at 10:17 on Tuesday, just about 45 minutes before the arrest, he posted, "You hang around the barber shop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut." So I'm not exactly sure what he was referring to, but when we have more details on that, we will certainly post online and we'll let you know. And that brings us to time, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining me, and have a great week. We'll see you on Thursday.